First, looking into the basics of artificial intelligence in terms of use of AI in organizations. Then we will briefly touch upon risk and impact of AI use, and that is where the need to implement the standard comes in. So we will have a quick look at the standard, and then we will also discuss about how a professional as a lead implementer can be a good resource for any organization which is going to implement AI MS, which is Artificial Intelligence Management System. Now, to start with the basics, the use of AI in the organizations. So, as per the ISO organization itself, in the not so distant past, the idea of machines that could think, that could learn and make decisions was confined to the science fiction only. I remember when I was doing my college, that was somewhere in late 80s, we had a movie Short Circuit. It was a science fiction movie, and there a robot eventually learns to replicate itself into multiple robots. But today it has become a reality. It has crossed the fictional boundaries. It is very much now in our day-to-day life. So, what actually is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence refers to the computer systems which become capable of performing the task which actually require human intelligence. For example, reasoning. Reasoning requires human intelligence. Learning, that also requires human intelligence. Perception, even language understanding. Today, the computer systems are becoming capable of reasoning, learning, perceptions, and language understanding. So that is why we call it as artificial intelligence. Now, it is not that just a simple program that will start acting like an artificial intelligence program. These systems will analyze very vast data sets. They will recognize pattern, and then they will make the decisions with unprecedented speed and accuracy. So, which means before we get any program to act like an artificial intelligence program for our benefit, it needs to undergo its own path of learning, which we usually refer as machine learning. So, now take an example of Amazon's Alexa Plus. It can anticipate your needs. Take the example of healthcare sector. So AI driven drug development is accelerating the medical breakthroughs. So AI's applications are much vast and varied nowadays. So machine learning, as I said, artificial intelligence will work only after it has learned enough from the vast data sets. So machine learning is a subfield of artificial intelligence. So it relies on different learning models to train the AI systems. There are three primary types of machine learning. One is a supervised learning, other is unsupervised learning, and then the third one is reinforcement learning. So quick look into all these three types of the machine learnings. So when we say supervised learning means there will be an algorithm which will be trained on a labeled data set where each input will have its known output. For example, if you take the collage of pictures of various birds, dogs, or animals, etc., each will be labeled. So when you label a picture as a bird, you will have to label beak, you will have to label wings, you'll have to label feet. Same thing for other animals or human beings or anything. So this supervised learning works on the basis of a labeled data set. And by learning from these labeled examples, the AI model can actually make near accurate predictions on new or even unseen data. So supervised learning has been used for email spam detections where certain keywords would be labeled and it will be used, or image classification, object recognition, even in the market price prediction, even in the medical diagnosis assistance, it has been used. So when we talk about the email spam detection, it is one of the most common application where we end up filtering the unwanted emails without human intervention. The model will be trained on a massive data set of emails. Each will be explicitly labeled as either spam or not spam. And now slowly the algorithm will learn the pattern of the words. It will learn the sender information. It will learn structural characteristics associated with each label. And once it is trained, then it can accurately classify the new incoming emails, automatically sorting the spam into a separate folder. When it comes to the image qualification or object recognition, so here what happens is the model will learn to identify objects within the images. Take an example, a system is used in the autonomous vehicle that might be trained on thousands of images which would be very meticulously labeled with car, pedestrians, bicycle, road signs, signal. And this labeled data will allow the model to learn the specific visual features of each subject, thereby enabling it to recognize and react to them in a real time driving conditions. When we talk about price prediction as an example of the use of machine learning, supervised machine learning. So here, for example, real estate companies, they have been using supervised learning for property appraisals. So model is fed with the data set which will be containing various feature of houses based on the area of the house, based on the number of bedrooms, based on the location, based on the age of the property, and their actual historical sale price. So now the trained system, by learning the relationship between these features and the final price, it will be able to predict the potential market value of a new or unseen property. Similarly, in the medical diagnosis assistant, the supervision models have been helping the doctors by analyzing the patient data, medical images, test results, health histories, and then identify a pattern which is indicative of a specific disease. So, take an example, a model which is trained on the labeled images of the cancer cells can actually help classify new cells as either malignant or benign. But then there is also unsupervised learning. Now, why we call it as unsupervised learning is because this method, this algorithm works without any predefined labels or outputs. Instead, the algorithm will learn to identify hidden structures or groupings within the data provided, making it essential for tasks like clustering or anomaly detection. So, major usage of unsupervised learning include customer segmentation, recommendation systems, anomaly detections, organizing new articles. Now, when we talk about customer segmentation, so this helps the organization to use the unsupervised learning and help them in organizing their customer base for any kind of targeted marketing campaigns. So here the analysis of the unlabeled data on customer purchasing behavior, their demographics and online activity will be taken into consideration, and the algorithm would be automatically grouping similar customers into distinct segments. So these segments could be, for example, high value shoppers, seasonal buyers, bargain hunters. And this is without labeling, without being told what these groups are there in advance. In the recommendation system, this is very much used by the e-com industry. So all our e-com platforms like Amazon, like Flipkart, or worldwide Alibaba and all, they have been using it. So all these, and including the streaming services like your Amazon Prime, Netflix. So these e-commerce platforms and streaming services will employ unsupervised learning to power their customers who bought this also like. You must have seen that people also bought this when you are uh, finalizing a product on Amazon. You scroll down, you will find people also bought this together. Or when you are watching Netflix, you get a message on your screen. Because you watch so and so series, we recommend so and so series for you. So these systems use a market basket analysis. So algorithm will discover the underlying rule. The people who buy diapers are also likely to buy baby wipes. As simple as that. So this will be able to make relevant suggestion, and it helps the e-coms in enhancing the user experience and definitely increasing sales. Anomaly is a deviation. Now, in anomaly detection, unsupervised learning will be very effective for identifying unusual patterns. And these are the patterns in the data which may indicate a problem. Take an example of a financial institution, a bank. Now, a bank may use such kind of anomaly detection to monitor the network traffic, to monitor the financial transactions. So the model here will learn the pattern of the normal activity, and it will flag any transaction that deviates significantly from the learned structure as a potential fraud. Even if this is the first time, there is no label, even if the fraud has never happened before, but because of the anomaly, it may flag it as a probable fraud. Similarly, the news media, they use unsupervised learning for organizing news articles. Now here an algorithm can be developed and given thousands of the raw unlabeled news articles from various sources, and then be tasked with organizing them into meaningful categories. So here again, sports, finance, world news, entertainment, etc. can actually be separated into different categories without any human intervention. Then there is reinforcement learning. Now here the AI agent will interact with an environment and learns through trial and error. So in this methodology, it will receive rewards for desirable actions, and there would be penalties for the mistakes, which helps in gradually improving its decision making over a period of time. So in robotics, in gaming, in autonomous systems, this technique is very widely used nowadays. Now let us take some examples where the AI technology has been in use for quite some time. Healthcare. Here, artificial intelligence can process and analyze vast amounts of patients' data and thereby enabling near accurate diagnosis, predictive analytics, and even personalized treatment recommendations, better health outcomes.
Sir, if you don't mind, can you please go back to the previous slide once?
Yes, please tell me.
Okay, sir. Here, actually, I think you were mentioning about the robotic gaming, where the machine, the model, which learns from its mistakes and gradually improving. So can you please throw in some light in terms of how the model
See,
works?
this is again a machine learning model only. So here what happens is you create an AI agent. And that's again a detailed discussion which probably we will not be able to cover fully in this webinar. So what happens is the AI agents are like, like it's like a teamwork. You are a manager and you're having 3 or 4 people as your team members, each being tasked with a particular subset. Take an example of project management. Now, if you are doing a project management for a building, so one of your team members would be responsible for civil, another would be for electrical, another would be for plumbing, etc. But all the team members are working together and they are talking to each other. So this is where the AI agents come into picture. So different AI agents would be created given particular tasks. So wherever the AI agent ends up giving a not so desirable result, so that AI model would be penalized by, in a way that you will tell that AI agent that, okay, this is not the desired result. So now you stop working for some time. And other AI agents might be given more tasks. So this is a hit and trial method. So AI technology has been used for quite some time in the healthcare sector, wherein vast amounts of patient data are being provided, and basis that vast amount of the data, AI can actually do the accurate diagnosis. It can be used for predictive analytics, it can be used for personalized treatment recommendations that will help in better health outcomes. It also plays a very crucial role in drug discovery and medical imaging, helping the doctors to detect diseases earlier and more effectively. That is the purpose of AI use actually. AI has also been used in business and manufacturing. The automation, which is AI driven, it enhances the efficiency across industries. It also helps in fraud detection. It also does the risk assessment to the market trend analysis. There are AI powered robots in the manufacturing sector being used to streamline the production, including the predictive maintenance, and that will help preventing the equipment failures before they happen. Now, in the manufacturing industry, there were days when the equipment fails. It used to have a loss of the production time, and anything not produced is a permanent revenue loss. So the organizations have been able to reduce those losses to a great extent. Similarly, in the retail sector, artificial intelligence enables personalized shopping experience, smart inventory management. So there are chatbots for customer support, and even data-driven advertising strategies are there to increase the sales. One more example we'll take, and that example is the transport sector. With the help of AI, many countries are ensuring that the traffic keeps moving. It prevents the breakdown, streamlines the logistics also in shipping and supply chains. We can do the field tracking. We can do automated scheduling, which will ensure faster, smarter, and more efficient operations. Now, these are not the only three sectors. I have picked up these three sectors only to give you an insight into the use of AI. There are many more. Now, when we use AI, everything has got its plus points and negative points. Now, there is a risk in use of AI that also should not be ignored. So AI has become very deeply embedded in the industries worldwide, and its acceptance and use is growing by the day. Focuses on ensuring the quality, focuses on ensuring the reliability. of the AI software, but it is now much more critical than ever. If AI model works in the wrong direction, it can be a huge loss to the organization and also to the humans. Now, the most unfortunate part is on one side, AI is growing very rapidly. But when it comes to the governance and regulations, AI is still operating in a very unregulated space. It is posing risks which demand urgent attention. And that is where the ISO and IEC came out with this standard ISO IEC 42001:2023. Now, ISO standard is not a regulation as such, but implementing this standard, the organizations can mitigate such risks related to the governance. So now let us understand what kind of the risk could be there by using the AI in our organizations. One risk could be bias and discrimination. It is related to the societal risks. And this is kind of an immediate risk that can happen the moment we start using AI. Now, if the AI is trained on biased data, it can perpetuate and amplify the societal stereotypes. It can lead to unfair outcomes in areas like hiring, policing, and lending. Now, in the past, there was an example. It was found that one of the leading organization started using AI for shortlisting the CVs for prospective jobs. So instead of an HR person going through the CV word by word, they developed and deployed an AI model to do that screening, to do that scrutiny. And it started giving results. But after 3 months, when the results were reviewed, it was found that this AI model was pro male members. All the CVs shortlisted in the last 3 months were only and only the male members, which means there was a discrimination to the female members who would have been better employees also. But there was a bias and discrimination created by the use of AI. Eventually, that organization brought down this and started working on developing it further. And no recruitment was done based the results of AI. They are still working on it and they issued a public, they did not issue a public apology, but they issued a statement which was loosely equivalent to an apology because they said that we had done it on a hit and trial basis, but we have not done any recruitment using the results of this. Now you can only trust them that they did not. Fact is, they would have done. Another societal risk which is immediate is privacy and surveillance. AI has got the ability to analyze vast personal data, and that is what makes it much more powerful in terms of surveillance and manipulative personalized marketing. Another risk is misinformation. So now it can generate very convincing fake content like deepfakes, false articles, spreading the misinformation, which can actually lead to manipulating the public opinion. And all of us have faced it. We get so many messages through WhatsApps or Facebook or Instagram, which actually eventually are fake. But before we can detect them as fake messages, it might have ended up already building up a public opinion. Then there are security vulnerabilities. A poorly designed or an AI system which gets hacked by the hackers, it can pose safety risks, especially in your physical applications. Misuse in an autonomous weapon in a is also a major concern. And the worst is lack of transparency and accountability. AI makes it hard to understand decisions, complicating the accountability when the things will go wrong. Further, there are ethical and governance challenges, legal responsibility, for instance. Determining who is liable when an AI system will cause harm. Is it the programmer? Is it the user? Is it the company? Or is it the AI itself? This is very complex. Many countries have started looking into it, but still, it's just a work in progress. Now, there is also an environmental impact of using AI. Now, if you look at your laptop would be using how much? 150 watts of power. Now, if you look at your data center, a server would be what? 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt, 4 kilowatt, 8 kilowatt. But the kind of computing AI system has to do, it is not possible to use just 4 kilowatt, 8 kilowatt servers. It would be requiring much more power consumption. And that power consumption is actually running into megawatts. So when we are training the large AI models, we are training them on a very vast data set. And as such, running these IT applications will consume a very significant energy and resources. So now I come from a data center background. I served Airtel data centers for more than a decade. One of our data centers, we had a need for the power backup. We had 5 DG sets. And our data center was 3.6 megawatt data center. So obviously, our operations had an environmental impact because whenever the electricity failure will happen, the DG sets will run and that will pollute the environment. Even though we kept ourselves within the norms, but nonetheless, pollution does happen. Now imagine instead of using 5 DG sets, a data center which is hosting the AI applications has to use more than 25 DG sets at any given point of time, or maybe 50 DG sets. So this is something which was not taken into account earlier, but now as the use is growing, as we are moving from the standard data centers to the hyperscale data centers, environmental impact is also quite significant. Then the risk of intellectual property. AI models using the copyrighted data without consent will raise IP issues in future. So ISO and IEC are two organizations. ISO is the International Organization for Standardization and IEC is the International Electrotechnical Commission. They created a joint committee and they started working on providing some kind of guidance and controls to look into these issues. So the standard name is ISO IEC 42001-2023 Information Technology Artificial Intelligence Management System. So here this standard was developed by joint technical committee, as I was saying, This is a technical committee which is focusing on artificial intelligence. So this is basically focusing on addressing the responsible development and responsible use of AI technologies. So these standards, ISO 42001, and there are some related standards like 23894, 23053. These will help the organization, the decision makers, the policy makers with a structured framework so that they can create a consistent and auditable and transparent AI system. And they would be able to closing the regulatory gaps also. So ISO 42001 is the AI management system. This is a standard which provides requirements, and any ISO standard which provides requirements becomes an auditable and certifiable standard. Now, this standard is supported by ISO IC 23894, which is the guidance on risk management. And another standard is 23053, framework for AI systems using machine learning. Now, these two standards are the advisory standards, guidance standards. So, as such, these standards cannot be audited. Organizations will adopt these standards, but they cannot be certified on this. They cannot be audited on this because when it comes to being guidance or being advisory, it is the organization's prerogative. But any standard which is a requirement standard that becomes auditable and certifiable, and 42001 is a certifiable standard, which means the organizations can implement an artificial intelligence management system as per the requirements of ISO IC 42001. They can approach any of the established certification bodies, get themselves audited, and then get themselves certified, just like the organizations go for ISO 27001, ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, etc. So this standard is an international standard which specifies requirements for the complete life cycle, which means establishing an AIMS. Establishing means intent of the leadership, then implementing that intent. And once an AIMS has been implemented, there are requirements for maintaining it, working towards the benefit of the organization. And another requirement is the requirement of continually improving your AIMS. So this is a standard which specifies requirements for establishing, implementing, maintaining, and continually improving an artificial intelligence management system within the organizations. And now this standard is not only for the people who are developing AI. This also is used for the people who are using the AI. This is also a standard applicable to the organizations which are providing the platforms or products or services. So it is designed for all such entities which are providing or utilizing the AI based products or services, ensuring responsible development as well as responsible use of AI system. So this is the world's first AI management system standard, which provides requirements as well as valuable guidance for the rapidly changing field of technology. It addresses the unique challenges which artificial, artificial intelligence poses, like ethical considerations, transparency, continuous learning. So for the organizations, this standard sets out a structured way to manage the risks and opportunities which are associated with artificial intelligence with the balance between innovation as well as governance. So Responsible AI. Responsible AI will ensure that ethical and responsible use of artificial intelligence is taken into consideration and implemented. Another benefit of AI management system is reputation management. It will enhance the trust in AI applications. Thereby, it will enhance the trust of customers. One of the major benefits of adopting and implementing ISO 42001:2023 is AI governance. It will support the compliance with legal and regulatory standards. Sooner or later, almost every country will have strict legal and regulatory requirements when it comes to the AI governance. This standard also provides practical guidance on managing the AI specific risks in an effective manner, including identification of opportunities, which encourages the innovation within a structured framework. So, any organization which is going to implement the AIMS, Artificial Intelligence Management System, they will be needing resources who are skilled to do this, who are going to be enablers to the organizations. And that is where lead implementer comes into picture. So, if we just look at the brief role of the lead implementer, a lead implementer person would be skilled enough to support his or her own organization and its leadership in establishment of an AI governance framework, maintaining that AI governance framework, and also improving that AI governance framework. So, which means the lead implementer of AIMS will be responsible for ensuring ethical, compliant, and risk managed AI use. How does it happen? By defining the right policies, giving the right intent, conducting the gap analysis, then managing the AI risks, following a AI risk management process, overseeing the system implementation, interacting with different functions within the organization. And once the implementation is done, once the organization is confident that they have implemented the AIMS aligned to the requirements of 42001, then the lead implementer will also have a big role in preparing for the certification audits to be conducted by independent certification bodies. It helps in fostering the trust and responsible AI deployment. So, for a lead implementer, the core focus areas are to start with ethical AI, ensuring AI systems are deployed in an ethical manner and they align with the organization's own values. Second focus area for the lead implementer is compliance. So, lead implementer will ensure that the organization meets the legal requirements, regulatory requirements, or any other standard requirements for AI. And third focus area would be digital trust, building the confidence amongst various stakeholders, including customers, regulators, or even the public when it comes to the AI use. So, what are the key responsibilities? Key responsibilities for a lead implementer would be strategy and planning, working with the leadership, defining the AI governance policy, defining and setting the objectives for artificial intelligence management system, and then planning the implementation of AIMS. So here the next responsibility is to conduct a gap analysis. Gap analysis simply means where we are today and where we desire to be, which means the lead implementer will get involved in assessing the current AI practices and compare it with the ISO 42001 requirements, identifying the gaps, and those gaps would then become input to risk assessment. So here the risk and impact management would be done. That again will be the key responsibility of the lead implementer. Now, when we say that it is the key responsibility of the lead implementer for risk and impact management, does not mean that as a lead implementer, you have to do it all alone yourself. You will be interacting within the organization with various functions, with the IT teams, with the AI developers, as well as other support functions. Purpose is to identify, to assess, and to manage the AI risks as well as societal impacts. And for this, there is a separate requirement in the standard, a clause which is not there in the Information Security Management System 27001 standard. And this is the AI system impact assessment. In ISO 27001, the standard requires risk assessment and risk treatment. But here in this standard 42001, there is an additional step required. First is the risk identification and risk assessment, its analysis and evaluation, and then do specific AI system impact assessment. What is the impact of our AI system on our stakeholders, on public, on environment, and of course, implementation will be the key responsibility. Now, when we say implementation, we are talking about implementing the controls, implementing the policies which have been approved and established, implementing the procedures, all leading to responsible AI with a focus on transparency, fairness, as well as maintaining privacy. Now, lead implementer job is not over just when the implementation is done on ground. There is a requirement in the standard for regular periodic monitoring as well as continual improvement. So lead implementer will have to monitor the AIMS, conduct the internal audits, and then drive the continuous improvement. Another key responsibility would be engagement with the stakeholders. So here you engage with the relevant stakeholders and provide the leadership with AI projects. And when the organization is ready to get certified, lead implementer will be involved in audit preparation as well, preparing the organization for third-party certification audits.